Gonna win, long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. We are live. Good afternoon, John. You've requested this song. Here we go. I wish that heaven visited hour. I could just show up and bring good news that she's getting older. Wish I could met her. Things she learned from me, I got them all from you. You just talk a while and we'll just put the words to right. Little ones will grow and I'll still drink your favorite wine. Soon they're gone, goes, and I will see you another day. So much has changed since you've been away. There you go. Ed Sheeran visited ours.
Good job.
Thank you. Just a little bit high in places. I'm all tangled. Yeah, that is a cracking track. So why did you choose that one, sir?
Oh, well, I'm a big fan of Ed, and I like that kind of sentimental, folky pop music that he does. And also, I had a little bit of trivia about the song when you sent me a list of potentials.
Absolutely.
And I thought not many people probably will know this one, so that was the little trivia that got me to pick that song.
Perfect. I think Ed's great. I think he's absolutely great. So no, good. John, before I introduce you, I just got to say hello to Gary Cambridge, the Sandwich King. I still need to know why he's the Sandwich King, but hi, sir. How are you? So, John Espirian, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, thanks for having me, Ashley. Yes, I'm by trade, I'm a copywriter, have been for more than a decade. But the last 5 years, I have been what I call the relentlessly helpful LinkedIn nerd. I've been researching LinkedIn and sharing best practice tips on how to use it to get business. And so that's what I'm most known about. I've also written a book, Content DNA.
And Go on, share your book. Let everyone see your book.
There it is. There it is. Available in all good bookshops and some terrible ones. And I've recently started my own community, as you know, as you're a member of, Espresso Plus, so that I can help more people to do a bit better with their content and their personal branding and their approach to LinkedIn in general.
No, perfect. So, okay, so the format is I ask all the same questions to our guests. So the first one is how long have you been on LinkedIn, John?
Well, I joined because my old boss was nagging me to join. So I joined in 2008 and then thought, I'm never touching this again. This is rubbish. But then I didn't really get active again until late 2016, early 2017, when I was really trying to look for business, more business leads. So I would say 5 years. And I've kind of, once I started again, I stuck with it then. So it's been the last 5 years, truly.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a post the other day and finding out when people were on it, and most people I joined back then, but I've only really been on it. And I think, do you think that that COVID has helped get more people doing stuff on LinkedIn?
I think it has, and I think that not only have the numbers of people increased, but the proportion of people who are more apt to create content has also increased, and therefore we're just seeing more stuff in general. But so I was in the wave of people around the time that Microsoft bought out LinkedIn, and then there were changes to the way LinkedIn looked and acted, and so that was good timing for me. But certainly since the start of 2020, there have been a lot more people piling on, and now there's 810 million users, of which maybe as many as 5% are creating content. So it's still not.
Oh, he's gone. Hopefully you come back. That's staggering numbers that people aren't actually creating content. Now, that's a real shame, because you've got this platform where there's an awful lot going on, and nobody's creating any content. And so if Gary, if you're still watching, if you can still see me, a comment in the comment box would be absolutely superb. What a shame we've lost John. So anyway, this is where I start gabbling and wondering. So whether or not we're still on air or whether or not anyone else is on air, if I can go onto my phone and I can see what's happening. But I've been looking forward to interviewing John forever, and he's definitely gone. Hopefully he's going to come back. I'm just going to go into. Oh, you can still see me. That's all right then. That's all right. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for staying here. So, LinkedIn, right? And the way I see it, it's the same sort of the way that John sees it. It's more a community. It's more a place where people catch up with people, check in with people, and Gary often comments on my posts, and we keep it on idea of what's going on with people, and so over time, people are using LinkedIn totally differently to what they first started. I was chatting to my barber the other day, and he was telling me that people go on LinkedIn to find a job. And, you sort of like think, well, that was years ago. And that was the main reason that I actually started on LinkedIn. It'd be great if you're listening. Just tell me why you started on LinkedIn, because back then I was thinking maybe I'll get a job out of this. Maybe someone will see me. They'll see that I'm a really good sales guy and offer me a job. But that has totally changed. And like I just said to John, the fact that COVID's come along and it's pushed us into this virtual world. Hi, Cynthia. It's nice to see that some people there. So yeah, so tell me why you're on LinkedIn or what you like about LinkedIn. But people are using LinkedIn totally differently because we weren't allowed to go out. We weren't allowed to leave our house. We weren't allowed to do networking meetings. And LinkedIn is really turning into this amazing place where we can network with people. We can connect with people. And one of the things I was really hoping to talk to John about today is his amazing community that he's built up on LinkedIn, because you've got all these people that are trying to learn how to use LinkedIn better. But where do they go? There's lots of different coaches and people out there, including myself. But what else? Oh, he's come back. He's come back.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's all right. I've got two hearts, so it's fine. It's fine. So people have been worried that are you all right, John?
I'm totally fine, but I think the winds gusted up and we had a power cut.
Oh, you actually had a power cut. That is
actual
amazing.
Power cut. Yes, sorry about that.
Well, great to have you. Great to have you back. So just been asking some questions on LinkedIn. If anyone's got any questions for John, please pile in. But I'm just saying how it's changed because of COVID, and people are using it more as a networking tool rather than trying.
I mean, to be honest, I always saw it like that. I always saw it as an opportunity to try and build relationships and build trust with people through doing that, and then get work off the back of it, not to just turn up only when you need a job, but actually to get to know people. And that's what I've been consistently using it for the last 5 years, is just to use all of the tools that it gives you. You can do commenting, you can do direct messages, you can do voice notes, you can do videos, you can introduce people to each other. There's all sorts of non-salesy things you can do to keep in touch, and that's what I do it for.
And you can do live shows, John.
You can
do live shows, and you can get amazing guests. So here's a question for you, John.
Yes.
Do you use other social media regularly?
Not a whole lot, no. Of my social media use, I would say 90% of it is LinkedIn, and that's reflected in the results that I get. I leave about 10% of space for dabbling. So things like Twitter, which is the first social network that I signed up to, I still keep a presence there. But I don't really spend a lot of time. I think focusing in being known for one thing on one platform is probably the safest approach, narrow and deep rather than broad and shallow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great one. So these questions, they're hilarious to you because you're so how much time do you spend on LinkedIn?
Well, now that I've got the community, it's even more than it was before, to be honest. So it's often 5 or 6 hours a day, but that's not reflective of what other people would need to do in order to get results. I think I think you could probably spend, I mean, you'll probably say 15 minutes, but honestly, I think you could certainly spend less than an hour a day and still get reasonable results from LinkedIn, so long as you're targeted in what you want to be known for, who you want to build relationships with, and you know, what kind of content you want to put out into the world. It's possible to get results so long as you're consistent. The worst thing in the world is to be really active for a couple of weeks and then clear off for a couple of months. It's just not going to work. But if you keep being the voice of trust and you keep showing up, then eventually that will start to influence people.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you? I read somewhere that it takes about 9 months to build that up, so that people you start influencing people.
Yeah, I mean, in my book and in Mark Schaefer's book, we talk about the 30-month mindset of how long it takes to be known in your industry. But if you're actually following best practice advice and you've got someone to guide you on what to do and what not to do, I think it's possible to achieve results in 9 months. That's still quite a long time. And if you're not seeing anything in the early months, it's easy to be discouraged. And that's probably the biggest thing that nobbles my clients, is that they think they'll write a few blog posts and suddenly the world will be falling at their feet, and it doesn't work that way. If you can be consistent and really targeted for 9 months, I think you can start to get some good results.
Yeah, no, and guess how long I've been running my business for, John?
Well, I'm guessing it's going to be rather longer than that, but I don't
know.
No,
it really is. It really is only 9 months.
Okay, well,
fab. And I'm really now starting to see some amazing opportunities and stuff like that coming in. But as you know, I am consistent. I'm posting every single day.
Yeah.
So, John, I don't need to ask you all those other questions on LinkedIn. I want you to tell us all about your amazing community that you built, how it came about, and where are you now? And is there any room for anyone else to join?
Okay, so where it came about, I started a mailing list, a traditional email list, 5-6 years ago. And I thought, this is all very well and good for broadcast purposes, but there's no opportunity for the nice people on this list to interact with each other. And often they're asking the same questions. And I'm thinking, this isn't optimal. So let me start a group where people can start talking to each other. And that's what started out as the free espresso group on LinkedIn. And then that quickly became very popular. We got 650 members, but it was taking up a lot of my time. And so I decided that the only way I could continue managing such a thing would be to monetize, but to create a wider community element. So there'd be video explainers, there'd be group coaching calls. I turn it into a proper community where people could get to know each other. We've got 169 members. My aim is to grow it only to 300 members and then permanently close the door. So I'm not going for infinite growth. There is still time to sign up. There's 6 days left in February. I'm going to be putting a temporary freeze on registration at the end of February. Not sure how long for, maybe a month or so. And my aim is to invite only nice people in, so that people can really benefit from knowing each other and maybe have opportunities to do business together. Who knows? But for all of us to move our businesses forward in an ethical and respectful way. That's the plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I often wonder if I want to be a member of a club, if someone wants me to be a member. So I don't know, who was that? Was that Groucho Marx that coined that phrase?
I think it might have been, yes.
Yeah, absolutely classic. So what sort of things are you doing in the group?
Okay, well, I mean, a lot of people will be there for best practice tips on LinkedIn. So I'll instead of just doing my normal posts that I would do in public, I might go a bit deeper. Like, for example, I'll share experimental results within the group, or I'll just take a question and really do a deep dive video on, here's how I would approach that conversation, or here's how this thing really works. And those things become premium pieces of content that are for members only. I'll do that as audio only as well. So I've got a new podcast that's released for members. And I'm going to start doing a regular schedule so that people will know. For example, one day of the month, we'll have a group coaching call and people can submit their questions, and some people can come on a live Zoom or a live StreamYard and we'll chat things through. And also I'll be reviewing people's websites and their LinkedIn posts and saying, look, here's how, as a copywriter, here's the things that you could be doing better. So it's like, it's targeted advice as opposed to more general stuff. And the big issue I've had with memberships in the past is that, there'll be someone who's attracting you into the membership, but then they won't really be there day to day, actually driving conversations forward and talking to individuals. That's not what I want my community to be about. I'll be very much leading it. It won't be outsourced to anyone. So you buy into the community, you're buying into me, but you're also buying into the nice people who are making up that community. like you.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, no, you're quite right, and I think that's the biggest selling point of the community is there's some real stars in there, and I've had a couple of conversations with other members about stuff other than LinkedIn. So yeah, it's really great, and I love the reviews that you did. I think it was posts you did the other day, and you actually got a few people who were brave enough to say, "Look, have a look at my post," and what you're telling people, because you've obviously written a book about content. You're a writer. You know all of this stuff. We don't know. We don't know that you should have a bit more white space, or or stuff like that, or shorter paragraphs and things like that. So it's a really great place to learn and to find out, and it's a safe place because it's a closed community, and that's what I like about it. I could just go in there and post anything, and it really doesn't matter. And when I say post anything, I do know well, but you know what I mean.
Yes, absolutely. And this ties back to the idea of the content DNA that I'm trying to put out into the world, which is the shape of my brand. I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and hopefully the people who've been watching me all of that time will resonate with me in some way, and that they kind of self-select into my community. And it's the kind of people who are like me who would want to come into the community, and therefore I get people that I like being around, and everyone finds each other nice because they're all the same. In that respect. So that's the power of putting your personal brand out. So for anyone who's thinking of doing the same, I think you need to be really clear about what you stand for, and then just not be scared to put that out into the world so that you attract the people that you get on with, and then your communities will be a success rather than just being a ragtag bunch of anyone and everyone.
Yeah. No, I was saying, I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying that they've seen somebody do this video, and it was a little bit of off the wall video, and I said, yeah, but that you don't have to do that, because that's not you. That's not the sort of thing you do. That off the wall video is that person's thing. That's what they do, and they're going to attract those type of people. But you don't want those sort of people. So and it's just thinking about that. And I think so many people think, oh, I've got to be this perfect thing on LinkedIn, and it's no, be the thing that you are all the time, and that is you.
Yeah, I talk about being the same shape everywhere. It's in the subtitle of my book. So that if you meet someone, or if you go on a Zoom call, or you receive an email, or you're in a community with them, it should always be congruent. It should be the same shape, so that there's no surprises. And often people will tell me when I get on a Zoom with them, it feels like I know you already because I've already seen you on video and you're just the same. Well, yeah, I am, because it would be weird if I wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do meet people like that, don't you?
Well, sadly, you do, and I guess they come a cropper in the end. But the more you can be, just relax and be you in as many places as you can, the better.
I learned that a long time ago, and it's so much easier just being me. I'm really good at being me. Cynthia's got something lovely to say. It's unbelievable how John takes time to reply to everyone's questions in the community. Cynthia, I echo that. I cannot believe it. It seems to be always there. So and this is the thing, John. It's you're actually practicing what you preach. Because like you say, there are communities and membership groups and stuff like that out there. Yeah. Whereas once they've got their money, they're not really so bothered. And you sort of like think, why are we paying the money or whatever? So
well, exactly. I could probably drop the price to a third of what it is and say, let's go for 5,000 members or something and make an absolute mint. But then I wouldn't have a time to chat with anyone, and it just wouldn't mean anything. Like, I don't just want followers. I do want relationships. So yes, I'll make time for Cynthia. She made time for me. She was on holiday when she signed up for Espresso Plus, bless her. But it means I get to know people and remember people. And that's what it's all about, because it's my work. But I'd like to think this would be a hobby if I weren't working. So I want to know people and help them as much as I can. So it's nice.
My wife said to me the other day, what are you going to do when you retire? And I said, well, I quite like doing what I do, so I don't think I would retire. And that's the thing. 50 minutes flies by in such a short time, John. I've got a couple of other questions, but if anybody else has got any questions for John, please bang them in the thing. I didn't run this. I took all that time to get it done for you, and I didn't do it. I'm dying to know what on earth that is behind you. It looks like a load of Post-it notes. Have you got a load of work to do, John? What is that behind you?
The Post-it notes went up at the same time that I set up the community. So everyone who's a member of the community has their own color-coded Post-it note on my wall. And there's more above the logo that you can't actually see. The camera can't catch that. But all 169 people will be on there. And it's just a nice kind of visual branding thing, because blue, green, orange is my colors. But also it's just, it's the you people. I wouldn't have a community if it weren't for you. So all of you are on the wall somewhere. And
I think that's absolutely marvelous. That's a lovely thing. Dance site easier than loads of photos, but maybe that's on the other wall. I don't know. So it looks like I've got a couple of questions coming in. So Nola's saying she likes the small size of the group and the focus on relationships. Yes, I do too, Nola. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ashling's coming late to the party, but at least you made it, Ashling. Good to see you. What else is 169? So we're closing the doors, did you say, John, on Tuesday, which is the first?
Yeah, closing the doors at the end of February, just to give me some breathing space, really, because I want to focus on the people who've made this a success so far, and then maybe it'll build up a bit of FOMO for when doors open again at some point. I'm not sure when, maybe a month or so. And as I say, I don't really want to grow beyond 300, because I don't think I could serve more than that many people the way I'm serving them now. And that would be enough for me to earn the income that I want to, so I don't have to worry about other things. I could just focus on the community. So 300 is the goal, and we're more than halfway there. So I'm delighted after 3 weeks.
No, perfect. It's quite incredible. What I'd like you to do is at the end of this, if you go back into the comments, if you can put your link
Sure.
to join Espresso Plus, because if you're not, you are missing out. And John, it's been absolutely delightful having you on today and having a little natter. I've got one more question, but before I do that, I've just got to introduce my guest for next week. Okay. I've got the right one. I've got the lovely Lisa in next week. So she's a podcast host. She's a lovely lady. You've got some great stories. So I'm looking forward to actually catching up with her. So John, thank you very much indeed. My last question to you then is, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Oh, start a personal brand as soon as you can. Be clear on what you want to achieve and what you want to be known for, and just keep hammering that message. If I'd done that 10 years earlier, wow, I don't know where I'd be now. But it's such a foundational moment when I got that realization. It's really powerful, and that's what I advise everyone who really wants to succeed, through having control of their own business.
Yeah, that is priceless. I've still got a couple of questions there. If you've got time to answer a couple more questions,
absolutely, John? Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
has anyone asked what the trivia bit around the Ed Sheeran song was, by the way? Because we didn't actually say what it was.
No, they haven't. Go on. We'll do that. We'll do that as the last question. So when are we getting a deep dive in Camtasia?
Oh, well, yeah, I've kind of hinted at that, because I did do a demo of how I do my Friday shouts, which I do every week, and that included a little bit of Camtasia. But maybe I'll do a separate solo video just on that, because it's a really valuable video editing tool, and all of my videos that you see will be done in Camtasia. So I'm not a pro video editor, but I've managed to learn how to use it, and it's a one-off fee, and it's a really powerful tool. So yes, that'll be coming soon.
Before you publish that, can you just check that I'm available? I'd love to be on that one. Thank you. And then I heard you say a huge percentage of the audience are silent watchers. That makes it hard. Oh, that's a good question, Cynthia. I love that.
Well, it's true. I mean, if you imagine that, let's say only 1 in 10 people who actually see something might want to engage with it, it's good to know that, because then you know that you're talking to an audience that's maybe 10 times bigger than is apparent. And your customers are probably going to come from that silent watcher. That's what's happened to me loads. They go, we've been watching you for 18 months and now we want to hire you to write our website. Well, brilliant. I'd never even heard of you before, but obviously you know me. And so just keep that in mind, and don't be put off if 5 people comment, because maybe 50 people would have commented if they were brave enough, or if the timing was right. Those people are out there, and you are still talking to them. So just keep going.
I've got a funny story to say about that. So I got a mate who works in town, And he was saying that so he does a bit on LinkedIn, obviously follows me, but a couple of the his team follow me and see what I'm up to as well.
Yeah.
And this lady saw me in town, and she nearly shouted out, "Oh, hi, Ash!" and then realized that I didn't know her, and she would be, so she related this back to my mate, and then he told me. So it's quite funny how it all works, isn't it? So yeah, you never know.
It's fab. Yeah,
you never know. All right, and so this trivia then on this LinkedIn on this Ed Sheeran song. Come on, spill the beans.
Well, I'm just fascinated by the fact that the backing vocals of that song were provided by comedian Jimmy Carr.
So that's your backing vocals on the single that you hear.
Correct. Yeah, I thought that was so random, but I think Jimmy's mum was going through either had just passed at the same time or was going through treatment at the same time, and he happened to know Ed, and they got talking over it, and then Ed invited him, "Do you want to sing backing vocals on my song?" I mean, how random is that to get a comedian on your song? But it worked well, and it's a wonderful song.
Who do you think out of both of them was the most starstruck? It's funny, isn't it? It's funny.
I think Ed's not starstruck at anything. He just seems to be so chilled. He was probably
he does. Yeah. So Jez has turned around and said, "Hi, John. So you've got a fan."
Nice.
But so have I.
Hey.
And a final thank you from Richard. Just because they aren't interacting doesn't mean they aren't watching. Richard used to work for the BBC, so he knows all about that. So awesome. He's got another comment. Yeah. Have you nailed those Post-its to the wall? Yeah, that's funny because they tend to fall down after a couple of days, don't they?
I try not to open the window in this office too much, but yeah.
John, you've been an absolute delight. I knew you would be. Thank you, everybody, for all your wonderful comments, and I look forward to seeing more in the community. And don't forget to put that link in the comments afterwards. But thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Ashley. Cheers.
Cheerio. Bye bye, everybody.